Thanks for joining us. I'm Gimbo Umar and this is News Mobile. Mr. Ayodele Adewale is the former chairman of Amuwo Dofin local government area of Lagos State. He joins us from downtown Lagos. He's also the chairman media organizing committee for the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us, as well as Liboris Oshoba, a lawyer and an advocate, of course, and he's joining us on the streets of Lagos. We understand how difficult the terrains can be at this time, but I want to thank you as well very much indeed for joining us. Let's look at what is going on right now. ATIKU now has a substantive running mate in the person of the Delta State Governor, Mr. Okowa, who will be running for the 2023 presidency alongside his principal, ATIKU Abubakar. That's the feelers that we're getting. But let's come to the APC first. We're expecting that this should happen anytime soon, now that the PDP has made their intentions known and have brought out a running mate. Comrade Ayodele, what are your thoughts? What do you think is going on in the mind of Tinubu right now?
Thank you for having me on your program. In the minds of Aswaju, primarily, he's thinking of picking the best person that will be generally accepted by Nigerians, someone that has the capacity to support him in government, and someone that fits the square peg and that can deliver on the party's manifesto. That is what is running on his mind now. And very soon, within the shortness of time, he's going to come out to inform the world about his choice.
Great. Now, this is what we know. The PDP apparently has its own running candidate now, running mate for the presidential race. How does that cut across to you? I mean, somebody from the south, from the southern part of the country, balances the equation.
With all due respect, being a political watcher of events, what people are basically saying now is that what the PDP wanted was to have a weak candidate from the south, who they will use like an errand boy, like, with all due respect also, the current vice president was used to share that money in the marketplace. And so, because if you look at the entire South, Okowa, yes, governor of Delta State, but presently it's even having, it's not, all is not well in his relationship with his ex-wife godfather, Iburi. And even the candidate, his party candidate, Sheriff, the PDP governorship candidate in Delta State, there seems to be a running battle that, people, it does not seem, it does not look as the acceptable candidate, to everybody. And then to that extent, that APC might even win that state. So it is easy for people to say, well, after all, Obasanjo did not win his polling unit in 1999. And so even, Oshibanjo didn't win his. But they also forget that this is not 1999, this is not 2019. You have Peter Obi, who has taken the larger chunk of the southeastern votes that used to ordinarily would go to PDP. So I would have expected, though loquacious, that PDP ought to have taken somebody like Wike, but find a way to tame him, because he enjoys more popularity and more acceptability in the South. But it is their choice. I'm not a politician, but from what I see here, people are already saying that these northern politicians, it is typical of them to take a weak southerner who will not be able to challenge, they will do whatever they can do, and then you don't have a southerner to challenge.
But don't you think, my apologies, don't you think that is too much of a risk for the northern politicians to take at this time? Because somebody like Tinubu is a colossus and he's a moving force that everybody seems to, resonate with.
And so that is why also, with what has happened, it will no longer be a debate for the APC whether they will take a Muslim ticket. It will be like a done deal for them. That, okay, look, now that you have a weak candidate from the south, so what they're just basically going to do now is do whatever they need to do. They want to share Atiku's vote from the north as much as they can. And the only way they can, irrespective of what we think, is to appeal to the sentiment of the Talakawas in the north, using religion as a strategy. And so once they do that, it becomes very easy. Because the African Muslim sees TINUBU as a Christian. So once they do that, it becomes very easy for them to share Atiku's votes. And the ordinarily domiciled resident votes of the PDP in the southeast, once it's gone, and then you have a TINUBU's stronghold in the west, which it will be difficult for Atiku to penetrate. And once that is done, the south side that ordinarily would have been a decider, would go either way. And that's why I'm saying that, with what they have done, it's self-serving, and it's going to, it might cost them the election with a slight margin.
Okay, Comrade Ayodele, let me come back to you now, because this, from Liboris's analysis, this should come to you as a sigh of relief of sorts. Would I be wrong by thinking as such?
No, it's a sign of relief for us. For Mr. Atiku to have picked Mr. Okowa, for us, it's a sign of relief. Because Mr. Okowa, with due respect to his person and his personality, is not a strong candidate, strong vice presidential candidate from the southern part of the country that can pull the numbers. Already, Ashwaju has locked down. The southwest is locked down. The southeast, we have a lot of supporters that are bringing the numbers to the table. The south, we have a very strong presence there. How do you think Mr. Wike will feel that is jettisoned for Mr. Okowa? And Mr. Okowa in the Delta itself has a lot of crisis that has befallen him, like Mr. Liberal did say. He has fallen apart from his godfather, Mr. James Ibori, and the Deputy Senate President is also there, Omo Agege, that is pulling very strong numbers to the table. In the north, there's no gainsaying Ashwaju's big presence in the north. Look at the kind of vote we're bringing in from the core north and other parts of the north. So I can only congratulate the APC right now, and I can congratulate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I see victory very, very, standing at us on the face, and we will manage our victory to 2023, and our appeal to all Nigerians to just make sure they get their voters' cards ready to vote in the APC.
So in order to avoid risks associated with who becomes a running mate, because that of the APC, we're expecting at any moment from now will be announced by the candidate of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But in order to avoid those risks and lose that presidency, do you think that a Muslim ticket will suffice at this time, judging from what the PDP has?
Like I've said at several opportunities that have been given by the media, that what confronts us more as a people in Nigeria is to get people of competence, get someone of competence, someone of capacity, someone that can bring in the numbers for the APC to win the election, someone that is acceptable by the larger majority of our people. That is what Aswad is looking at. That is what the party is looking at. Remember, politics is a system of number. I hate using the word game now. It's a system of number that will help produce the majority votes in order for us to win the elections. And we must separate religion from state. We must separate religion from government. Religion or religiosity will not guarantee 24 hours of power supply. Religiosity will not take away banditries from our system. Religiosity will not improve our economy. What will improve the Nigerian economy is people with competence, people with vision, a man that can support the APC's charter that will be led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay, let me come back to Liboris. Liboris, now that we're still anticipating and waiting for Bola Tinubu to make his choice of running mate, would you say that that chance that Atiku gave to the governors, the PDP governors, to select who becomes his running mate. Do you think it was a wise decision he made?
It is a notorious fact today that, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. It is a notorious fact today that the PDP governors in Nigeria are very powerful. They are very, very powerful today. They dominate the political landscape of the country. You can no longer take them for granted. So, whatever, you look at what happened, what played out in the APC, just before the APC primaries. If not the fact that the governors had to put their foot down, probably Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have emerged as a candidate. Some persons in the presidency or in the pillar would have just done their abracadabra and it would be a done deal. So, but the governor insisted. They are more like the custodian of party at the grassroots. So I think it's against that backdrop that you saw the PDP also donating powers to the governors. Even playing out in PDP now about the Muslim ticket. It is not about the Muslim ticket per se. It is about the fact that, up north want one of them to be the beneficiary of whatever of.
All right, Laboras, it's good that you're able to join us live now. I mean, transiting in Lagos, this is what makes it an interesting place to be. From your car, from where you have been, to a more comfortable place where you can now talk to us and we can now visually see you. So you were at the point where you were talking about the strengths and how powerful the governors in Nigeria have become. Please carry on from there.
Yes, so like I said, you saw how powerful the governors in APC, or the intervention of the governors in APC. And then we've seen how powerful consistently, from 1999 to date, the governors have been. At some point, the Goodluck Jonathan administration tried to break the governors forum, and that was partly some of the reasons that led to his exit, in government. They ganged up, some of them ganged up against him. And so with, people wielding such powers as the custodian of the party at the grassroots level, we also saw the running battle between the legislature and the governors as regards the amendment to the Electoral Act. I think it's against that backdrop that the PDP candidate and the party decided, to give give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to find out from the governor how they can select from, amongst themselves. And like I said, this issue of Muslim ticket, really, it's not that APC cannot get a candidate, a good candidate, a sellable candidate like Boss Mustafa, who is a Christian, the current custodian of the administrative department of the government. It's not that they can't get somebody like that they will rally around to markets. But the issue is that he's not one of them coming to benefit from what they see as what they have actually worked for.
So would you consider a Yakubu Dogara as somebody who has worked for and still fits into that cap?
No, Yakubu Dogara, I do not. Yakubu Dogara is even, if Tinubu picks Yakubu Dogara as a running mate, I would say that just the same way I've said ATIKU had given it to Tinubu, I would say that Tinubu had in turn, it becomes a ping pong. Tinubu has in turn given it back to ATIKU, because even in Tafa Balewa local government that Yakubu Dogara is from, apart from being a former speaker of the House of Representative, he also had been inconsistent. He was in PDP, moved to APC, and then back to PDP, and then back to APC again. So it's almost like, what will benefit him. So those are not the kind of people that the party at this stage would pick, and then we'll be able to, in all honesty, rally around. So I'm not really looking at people like Yakubu Dogara. And that's why the governor ordinarily would want one of theirs to be the beneficiary of one of their efforts at giving the ticket to Tinubu. So it's not really about if we get a Christian minority, we will not be able to rally around him. Because if you look at it, who was Yomi Oshibanjo in 2014 when Tinubu nominated him to be the running mate, and the entire ACN structure in the Southwest, as the man who will use his magic wand to turn the economy around, where President Buhari would face insecurity. So that's what wins election is. If we feed a Muslim, then it will appeal more to people, because if you say you cannot feed a Christian from the north, and that we should discountenance religion, why are you now insisting that it must be a Muslim from the north? Are you discountenancing religion? So those are basically the issue. But at the end of the day, if you look at almost all the governors from the north, they are all Muslims. And so it's about what will benefit them.
A lot of people are seriously watching this. I've had calls coming from Ghana, from the United Kingdom, from Canada, asking who will be Tinubu's choice. I've asked them to also wait as we are waiting. But if you were to, introspect and being a party member and very close to Asiwaju himself, is Asiwaju really going to go through with a Muslim ticket?
All I can tell you is that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to pick a vice presidential candidate that is acceptable to Nigerians, that has the capacity to deliver, that has the competence to work without any supervision. Because you must not be quick to forget that the vice president's major job is the economy. He has a lot to do there. And looking at the numbers that the northern geopolitical zone controls, we can't joke with that number. Either is a Christian, either is a Muslim, whatever belief that person opines to, for me, that should not be the criteria to pick the vice. That should not be the criteria. Because the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria now, Mr. Oshibadu, is a pastor of the Redeemed Church. Has that changed the conditions of Nigeria? Has that changed the condition of our economy? Has that improved the yearnings and caprices of all Nigerians? We must separate religion from state. I keep saying this. Even in America, yes, they've been able to separate religion from state. Politicians can come and opine on different religious sects for their own self-serving. But the reality is that we need people who can walk the talk. That is the reality. We need people who can move us to a first developed country status. We need people who can work with the president. Asiwaju already is a liberal Muslim, either you like it or not. Most people, even in the South here, see Asiwaju more as a Christian than a Muslim. I can tell you that for free. While Asiwaju was the governor of Lagos State, when people were afraid to return mission schools back to missionaries, Asiwaju took the bold step. He returned those schools back to them. Heaven did not fall. His wife is a pastor of the Redeemed Church. Asiwaju's best friends are Christians. Asiwaju is very close to former Bishop Okoge and all of these people. Asiwaju is very close to Baba Adeboye. Till today, Lagos still have a Christian service every first day in the year. So that should not be the barometer.
Let me come in here because we're running out of time. We just have barely a few minutes to go. Liboros is insisting that he thinks otherwise. But what we want to see at the end of the day is a formidable force such that Nigerians will be the biggest beneficiaries in this whole political journey that we're going through to 2023. Let me get your final words, just in 1 minute, just to culminate the issues for us, Liboros.
quickly, you find out that the sudden apostles of competence today were the same apostles of, look, there should be equity, there should be fairness, there should be balance, a sense of belonging. If Buhari did not take nepotism and religion sentiment this low, people will not be discussing religion today, despite the fact that you had a sitting vice president who was a Christian. You saw what religion played, the sentiment, and people are now asking, if you don't even have a Christian on that table, then it means that it will even be worse than it currently is. Those are the fears. It's not about, oh, look, Ashwaju is a liberal Christian and all of that. It is the precedent of today that is making people fear tomorrow. And then lastly, if we are talking about competence, is somebody like Boss Mustafa not competent enough? So it's all about the religion of the candidate also. That's why you're saying, oh, if you choose a Christian from the north, it will not appeal to the Muslims in the north. So let's choose a Muslim from the north who will appeal to the Muslims in the north. So is that not about religion also? Are we talking about competence here? So by virtue of section 141 of the Constitution, even the position of the vice president is mere spare tire. So let's leave all this economy. If the president does not have economic knowledge and acumen, and is selfish like Buhari is, it will be difficult for you as a vice president to even drive the economy. Okay. So that's
all right, Deborah, so we got your final words. Even though we would like to ask that some of your words, you should just watch them so that they are not too strong for our audience. Comrade Adewale, what will be your final words on this issue?
My final words would be along the line of the saying of Karl Marx. Karl Marx did say that religion is the opium of society, and we must not be driven by that opium to becloud us from seeing that we are playing politics here, right? The Bible also says that we give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. In this context, Caesar is earthly things. Caesar is politics. To God, worship, and our faith. We leave that aside. We should not mix religion and state. We should not mix religion and politics. What we need now is someone that has the competence in the context of bringing numbers, competence in the context of knowing what to do, competence in the context of being educated and be able to deliver the deliverables, to be able to deliver the manifesto of the party, to be able to support the president, move the economy forward, and have the charisma to galvanize people into oneness and make Nigeria a unified force. Once again, we need to solve the problem of insecurity. We need to solve the problem of unemployment. We need to create more opportunities. We need to stop our borrowing. We need to bring in investors and investment in order to create jobs. Religion will not do that. The developed climate of this world, that religion, the major religion are their bases. Like the Islamic religion is known to Saudi Arabia, Christianity is known to Israel. These people have been able to separate religion from governance. That is why their system is moving forward. We must be able to do that here in Nigeria without sentiment. We must not sacrifice competence at the altar of self-pity. We must look for people in the political sphere that can bring the numbers to win the vote, and that can help Nigeria to get to El Dorado.
That's a good place to let it rest. I most sincerely thank you both, gentlemen. Ayodele Adewale, the former chairman of Amuwo Odofin local government area in Lagos State, as well as Barrister Liboros Oshoma. Strong advocate indeed. Always a pleasure having you to dissect issues, especially when it comes to politics. I most sincerely thank both of you for talking to us here on News Mobile on Control TV. But we'll be watching very closely the political landscape and see what TINUBU has in stock for us. You all know now that ATIKU has a running mate in the person of the Delta State Governor, Ifeanyi Okowa. I'm Gimba Umar. Bye for now.